A 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances.
The stage felt tense long before Donald Trump ever reached for the microphone. The lights were bright, the cameras were locked onto the scene, and the audience could already sense that this would not be an ordinary political forum. Trump sat on one side, energetic, impatient, and ready to turn every exchange into a demonstration of power. Across from him sat Barack Obama, calm, composed, and patient in a way that seemed to irritate Trump more with every passing minute. The discussion was supposed to focus on leadership, economic challenges, and rising costs. But Trump clearly had a different objective. He wanted confrontation. He wanted a memorable moment. He wanted to make Obama appear weak, outdated, and ineffective. What he did not realize was that Obama was about to change the entire direction of the conversation. Trump began with a familiar pattern. He spoke about strength, energy, oil production, business deals, prices, and how nobody understood markets better than he did.
That Donald Trump will shake things up in a way that is good for you, Pennsylvania. I don't understand that. There is absolutely no evidence that this man thinks about.
He promised that gas prices would fall because he knew how to handle global affairs. He insisted that foreign leaders respected him, energy companies listened to him, and American families would benefit because he alone knew how to bring costs down. Some audience members applauded, but the reaction felt uncertain. There was noise, but not much confidence behind it. People were listening more carefully now because when families are struggling with rent, groceries, fuel, and everyday expenses, grand promises no longer sound as impressive as they once did. Obama waited until the applause faded. Then he leaned forward and delivered the first statement that shifted the mood in the room. He said lowering prices is not a slogan. It is not a campaign chant. It is not something a president should treat like a magic solution while ordinary families are deciding whether to fill their tanks or save money for medicine. The audience immediately grew quiet. Trump adjusted in his seat. Obama continued in the same measured tone, saying that leadership is not proven by promising lower prices. Leadership is proven by showing who benefits when decisions are made.
President Obama, and if he wanted help, I'd give him help because I'm a really good builder and I build on time, on budget. He's building his library in Chicago. It's a disaster. And he said something to the effect,
The point landed. Trump quickly interrupted, insisting that everyone benefits when energy prices drop. Families benefit, workers benefit, businesses benefit, the country benefits. But Obama refused to let the conversation move on. He agreed that lower costs for working Americans are a positive thing. Then he added that whenever public promises become connected to private interests, business relationships, political access, and family branding, citizens have every right to ask a simple question: who is really benefiting first? The room became still. Trump's expression tightened because the question was not an accusation. It was an examination. That made it far more difficult to brush aside. Obama was not talking about hidden scandals or secret documents.
Barack Hussein Obama's Iran nuclear deal a disaster. Obama gave them $1.7 billion in cash, green cash. Took it out of banks from Virginia, D.C., then Maryland, all the cash.
He was asking a straightforward public question, the kind that people in positions of power often dislike the most. When a leader promises lower fuel prices, who sees the benefit first? The family struggling to make ends meet, or the people closest to power? Does the advantage reach the worker driving to work every morning, or does it first reach insiders who understand how to profit from an announcement before ordinary Americans even know what changed? Trump grabbed the microphone again, but the energy in the room had already shifted. Obama's calm approach was pulling attention away from the noise. Trump responded by calling Obama weak, jealous, and all talk. He repeated that America needed builders instead of professors. Obama simply nodded and answered with the line that brought the room into complete silence. Donald, when a president uses the country like a family business, the people always end up paying the invoice. Nobody laughed. The silence that followed felt heavier than applause. Everyone understood exactly what he meant. Obama was not making a personal attack. He was highlighting a public concern. The way politics, branding, business interests, and family loyalty can become so intertwined that citizens begin wondering whether they are watching national leadership or a private sales campaign wrapped in patriotic language. Trump had presented his promise about lower prices as evidence of brilliance. Obama transformed it into a question of trust. Then Obama continued. He said, America does not belong to one family. It does not belong to a brand, a surname, a corporation, an estate, or a small circle of loyal insiders who hear plans before everyone else. The presidency is not supposed to function like a private table where a select few eat first while the public waits for whatever remains. It is supposed to be a public trust, That phrase resonated deeply, especially with older viewers who had lived long enough to understand what happens when power begins acting like ownership. Trump tried to laugh it off. He claimed Obama sounded bitter. He argued that successful families should not be criticized and suggested that opponents simply dislike success. Obama calmly replied that success itself was never the issue. The issue was secrecy. The issue was conflicts of interest. The issue was using public office to create private advantages. He said Americans do not resent honest success, but they absolutely have the right to question a system where ordinary citizens hear promises while insiders hear opportunities. The audience began applauding. Trump looked frustrated now. Not the frustration of someone confidently in control, but the frustration of someone realizing that his usual strategy was no longer working. He attempted to redirect the discussion back to gas prices, insisting that people only care about results. Obama agreed. He said people do care about results. They care whether fuel becomes affordable. They care whether heating costs decrease. They care whether small businesses can survive. But they also care whether leaders are being honest about who benefits from decisions made behind closed doors. Then came another defining moment. Obama said, if the plan is truly for the people, then the people should not be the last ones to understand it. The room erupted in applause. Trump tried to speak over the reaction, but it only highlighted the contrast even more. One man was rushing, interrupting, and trying to reclaim control of the stage. The other remained calm, disciplined, and impossible to rattle. Obama never needed to attack anyone's family or personal life. Instead, he kept directing attention toward public conduct, public responsibility, and the dangers of treating government as a vehicle for private gain. Then he delivered his final point. He said every president faces temptations. The temptation to reward friends, the temptation to protect loyal allies, the temptation to transform public influence into private leverage, the temptation to confuse what benefits the nation with what benefits the people closest to him. Real leadership, Obama said, is having the discipline to resist those temptations. Real leadership means making sure the family standing at the gas pump matters more than the family gathered around the table. The line landed with tremendous force. People slowly rose to their feet, then almost all at once. Not because Obama had shouted, not because he had humiliated Trump with insults, but because he had framed the discussion in terms that connected directly to everyday life. Gas prices are not abstract. They affect real people every day. Public trust is not abstract. It is the difference between believing a leader and wondering who is benefiting while everyone else is distracted. Trump's expression hardened. He launched one final attack, claiming Obama knew nothing about deals, energy, or winning. Obama looked at him quietly for a moment before replying. A deal that helps your circle before it helps your citizens is not winning. It is warning. The room fell silent again. That was the closing moment. By then, Trump still had the microphone, but he no longer controlled the discussion. His promise about lower prices had become a conversation about motive. His talk of strength had become a discussion about trust. His effort to dominate the stage had become a lesson about the difference between public service and private benefit. That was the real collapse. Not a scandal, not a secret file, not a personal attack. A mirror. Obama held up that mirror and forced the room to consider the question every citizen has the right to ask whenever powerful people promise relief. Who benefits first? And once that question entered the room, Trump could not shout it away.